Good morning, Singapore. Welcome to the biggest and best breakfast show in Singapore. It's The Big Show, and it's a Tuesday morning, and that's the reason why we're joined by psychologist Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. Good morning, Jerry.
Morning, and it's 2022.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, wow,
it
she's
is.
right.
Oh my goodness, you're the first one this entire morning to have noticed
I know.
that.
What is the significance of that? Is there
It's all the same
I'm
numbers.
not
So-
sure.
Bye for the
It happens once in a lifetime.
It does, yeah. It'll never happen again.
Okay, so it is a special
And
day.
it's Tuesday, so it's two. Everything two.
Fantastic.
But every day is a special day when we have you with us,
Oh,
Jerry.
that's
So-
so sweet.
Thank you so much. And today we're talking about building emotional muscles, which is very important, especially during these times.
Yep. And I'm gonna need all the people that exercise to chip in today because I'm quite lazy. I don't exercise.
Oh, wow.
Hey,
Okay.
you're not the only one, Jerry. Don't worry about
But
it.
what does this mean? Does it mean, heart? Are we talking about hard-hearted people? With absolutely no emotions? Is that what we want to achieve?
To melt those hearts. No, not to melt those hearts, but to tune into our emotions and how to just make it feel a bit better. Just tune in and fine tune our emotions, just like fine tuning our muscles, right?
So to be like more compassionate, empathetic,
Or or harder?
or harder, yeah.
I think it-
Oh.
Yeah,
I think
She's like, we don't understand.
No, wait, Jerry, wouldn't
But
that?
you know what I mean, right?
Yes,
No,
yes.
but that
You're right.
it would be both, depending on the situation you're in. Because in certain instances, you need to be empathetic
Yeah.
and compassionate. In other instances, you need to be a little harder. But you've got to be
Balanced.
in tune with your emotion in order to react correctly.
But when
Is that what
but-
we're saying?
Yes. So it's interesting that Angel, why are you laughing at me?
I don't know. It seems like we don't get it.
Yeah, because you know what? When you say build emotional muscles, the impression I get is that we get stronger so that we don't break down so easily. And as a result of that, right, it means that we have to be emotionally stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, emotionally stronger means not much emotions. That means I won't show much emotions because you know why? I'm resilient.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, like walls.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that your definition as well, or no?
But to be resilient and to be emotionally resilient, it needs to go both ways. You need to be sensitive, emotionally sensitive, as well as knowing how to manage. So it appears that you're a little bit harder or colder, but you're actually not. You're actually quite sensitive about it and know how to manage. So that's why I was a bit like, wow, was it, that impression everybody got that it became so dichotomous? Like it's either I'm hard or I'm all weak and warm. No, I think
Right.
it is to tune in so that you know how to deal with emotions, read emotions, deal with emotions, and you know how to brace yourself.
Very interesting choice of words, Jerry, that I picked up. Weak
and
and
warm,
warm.
yeah.
Do we see warm as being weak?
I'm not sure.
And is showing
You
your
know-
emotion does that mean you're weak?
If you're crying all the time,
I-
you're crying all the time.
Not all the time. That would be dysfunctional. But I want to throw it out there, right? I don't know. Do people feel that showing your emotions is weak? Do people think crying is weak? Do people think that requiring a hug and giving a hug is weak?
Well, I'm a crier.
So am I.
I'll admit it.
So
I'm
am
a
I.
crier.
Not all the time, though.
But I do. You've seen me on this show in 6 years. How many times have my eyes welled up?
I thought you were just
Every week.
acting.
No. That is.
I
it's
thought
real.
you were just acting for the show.
No, that's
to try and
real.
bring the ratings up.
No, that's real.
Oh.
But
He's the
I
only one
don't.
with tissues
I
here.
don't consider myself a weak person.
And I can second that because I'm a crier as well. Like I can cry at an advertisement. One of those touching sort of dog advertisement type things. I can cry, and I've been called weak before.
No.
Really?
Yes, I
That's
have.
not
I
cool, right?
have. Oh, by I shan't call.
Oh,
I
okay.
shan't.
Oh,
I shan't.
okay.
I shan't label them. But people I don't speak to anymore.
Okay.
Right.
But yeah, it's always been a thing where those that cry are
Seen to be weak.
showing their weakness or are weak. Which
So
is
I
an
don't
awful
know, do people
stereotype.
really think? So I think when I said muscles, everybody think of big muscles. But I think that personal trainers, I don't know. So Sean, Glenn, you know, you can jump in. Muscles don't have to be big. They can be toned and not big.
And hard. We always want it to be hard, right? But you just have to keep on training for it to be hard.
Which is the same thing that she's saying for
Right.
emotional muscles. It's a constant work in progress, right?
Yep.
Okay. But weak is a very strong word. Don't
It
ever
is.
call
Yeah.
anyone weak.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
really
terrible
bad.
word
Call
to
them
use.
crybabies, okay?
There-
Not weak.
No, don't call them crybabies
okay,
either.
no,
Empathic,
No.
empathic.
No, okay, we'll continue to talk to Jerry on the Big Show TV. Meantime, here's Guns N' Roses, Paradise City on 1FM 91.3.
I think you can't call people weak. I mean, I'm a crier only because at the end of the day, it's odd to actually say it now.
Going to cry again.
But it no.
There-
But it makes me feel better having cried.
Cried. Yeah, a good cry is always it's
Yeah.
always nice.
It
yeah.
actually makes me feel better. It's like I've released that emotion.
I
you know?
I feel it when exactly. I feel like when I cry, that's the way I show my emotion. You know, it and I can't help it. It's
like
not
sweat.
something I can control. Almost, you know, it's uncontrollable.
Yeah.
Yep. So what you're describing is why we need emotions. So we are all human beings, right? We need emotions. So people don't recognize. I'm not sure why when we evolve, we think that we need to park our emotions aside. But all our emotions help us. And a lot of people get very surprised when I say worry is actually a good emotion to have.
Worry.
Wow,
When you're
okay.
worried, when you're anxious, because it's your alarm system that tells you what to do next, or whether you need to pay attention to something, and if you're in danger. So that's what it is. Imagine if you don't have that, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
So a person who goes, "Oh my gosh, I've got this problem. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do," does not have control. Does not have control of their emotions.
Yes. So you need to have control over your emotions. You are in control of emotions and not emotions taking control over you.
So how do we build our emotional muscles? So how do if we take FD and myself, for example, how do we stop crying at the drop of a hat? Do you know what I mean? And control that.
There's nothing wrong with crying. Let's put it out there. So
Yeah.
it's not about stopping to cry.
Okay.
I think it's for others that we are looking at those that affect their lives. And they cannot deal with daily, functioning, or they are, I don't know. So there are people that we look at them and go, "Oh, you cannot feel anything. You are quite insensitive." So these are the people that maybe, are it's affecting their relationships. It's affecting their work. That might want to look at it. Yep.
But there
And
are
we don't want-
there are cold-hearted snakes out there. Right?
There.
Nah.
Hence the song. Right?
But I mean, even the most cold-hearted people or seemingly cold-hearted people have feelings deep down inside, right? They must care for stuff.
Yes, they do. They do have emotions, but they locked it up, or it's like saying the extreme, the different body types, those that are really big and those that are really, really skinny. And we say they don't have muscles. That's not true. They have muscles underneath. All of us have muscles. It's just
Yeah.
whether we tone them or not.
We've got a comment on our Facebook page, Jerry, from Chow Yong, who says, Chow Yong reckons that in order to build emotional muscles, we first have to release pent-up emotions. Do we have to clear the emotional baggage first before we can build these muscles?
Some of them do, but for most of us, I'm looking at most of us building those muscles, right? So the ABC of it, the A would be active. You need to activate all your emotions. So those that need to air the emotions, please look for a therapist to do that. But all of us can activate our emotions every single day. I think what Angel was talking about just now when she says, when I feel something, I would react to it. So if I feel a little bit touched, I react to it. No, that's you being congruent to yourself. So those that stuff their emotions deep down into their bellies, they're not congruent with whatever they feel. So they say, oh, I feel nothing. I feel okay. It doesn't graze me. It doesn't touch me. But actually, they keep it locked up.
So does that mean they're not in touch with their emotions?
They might be in touch, but they don't want to touch it. So
Right,
they are
okay.
not activating any of their emotions. So
Okay.
be active about it. If you're happy, you don't need to laugh like a banshee, but you can laugh.
Yes.
Like a hyena.
Don't talk about FD like that.
Hey. Dr. Jerry, very bad.
Oh no!
Oh, damn it.
I remember one time you were telling me about FD, right, Dr. Jerry?
Oh, what did she say?
That he laughs like a banshee.
Glenn, don't be scandalous. Thank you.
Let's not start any trouble here.
Okay, I got a couple of Facebook comments I read, then we go back on air. Leo Kian says, sometimes letting it out makes you stronger. Yeah, and also Matthew says, our society always downplays emotions because it gets in the way of achievement and efficiency.
It gets in the way of efficiency.
And achievement.
And achievements.
This was what Matthew
Okay.
says on our Facebook page.
Okay, so sometimes that's what people believe. So that's where the weak part comes in, right? So to hear that is really, really saddening. I do know sometimes when we sit too long.
Okay, Cherry, hold on. Okay, we're going for a traffic break. Sean will bring that question up again. Good morning and welcome to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is psychologist Dr. Geraldine Tan, and we're talking about building emotional muscles today. And Sean, you've got a question from one of our viewers on Facebook right now.
Yes, Matthew Lee, he says, our society always downplays emotions because it seems to get in the way of efficiency and achievement. What do you think about that, Dr. Jerry?
Yeah, so I was saying that it really, really makes me sad because we were just talking about, being weak, having emotions and equating it to being weak. I want to debunk that myth because I've seen so many people with depression and very severe depression still being able to function at work. They need a little bit of care and love, but they are one of your top performers if you permit them to. But when we just label them and brand them and say, you are your emotion, not just the disorder itself, but you are your emotion and you cannot get past your emotion, then that's very unfair to the person receiving it because we're not accepting their abilities.
Okay.
On Facebook earlier, Dr. Jerry, you were talking about there being the ABCs of building muscles, and you were just starting on the A, talking about activating emotions. Can you go through that a bit?
Yeah, so activate. The second one, I need some help from Shaun. So I don't know. So when our muscles ache, it means that there's some damage, right, to our muscles. Is that true?
In terms of muscle building, yeah, so what you do is you break down the muscle fiber so that when it recovers, it comes back stronger.
So the second one is B, to break. So we need to break down why we feel the different emotions. If we are feeling a pleasant emotion, or if we are shocked, or if we are angry, we need to break that down to figure out what is fueling or what is causing that emotion.
So the trigger points?
So it can be the emotion that is underneath. For example, I always like to say that anger hides other emotions. So we see an angry person and we assume that he's got anger management issue. But maybe it's not. Maybe it's really sadness underneath. Maybe it is disappointment that is underneath, that is, firing him up. Or maybe we see sadness, but underneath it is shame, is guilt.
That makes so much sense, huh? The whole breaking it
Yeah.
down.
Yes, yeah, to find out where everything stems from.
Yeah. Before we play the next song, what about the C? Very quickly.
To constantly do it, because people love to just say, okay, today I listened to Therapy Tuesday, I try it one time and that's it. Don't do that. You need to practice. So it needs to be constant, just like exercise, right? Just like your different
Yes.
sort of activities. In order to improve anything, you need to be consistent, or in order to build a muscle, you need to exercise it consistently. So this is why we need to consistently activate it, break it down.
Truer words have never been spoken. Well done to Geraldine Tan. We continue to talk to Jerry on The Big Show TV. Meantime, here's Genesis, Invisible Touch on 1FM 91.3.
Gone through the ABCs of building muscles. So it's activate, breaking down the whys, and then constantly doing it, because practice makes perfect. But what about the
Yes.
5 F's of mental health?
Yes, so the 5 F's. There are three concrete things that you can do, and 2 concepts. So the first one is you need to want it. You need to fight for it. So the first one is fight. You need to fight for it.
Okay.
Because now we are talking about people that don't want it. They want to hide it. We cannot tease the emotion out of them until they want it. So they need to fight for it. The second one is the fuel for it. Fuel meaning, so we want to build muscles. Building muscles need a lot of resources. So this part would be the resource part. And I think we've talked about it in various sessions, whether it is a social resource, whether it is food resource, whether it's community, whether it is self-care. So what is your fuel to help you to tune in to your emotions?
Okay. All right.
Fuel. Okay. Now the third one is a bit strange. In order to reach a goal, okay, so if someone wants to build a muscle, for example, and someone comes to Shaun, I think I want to do a spin class, and they say, sure. What is the next question you would ask them? What is your goal? So there needs to be a third F, which is fantasy. How do I see my person being with emotion? So you need to kind of envision yourself with emotions.
Okay.
Does that
All
make
right.
sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Sort of visualize. It's like visualization.
Yes. So you need to visualize. I love it. Like everybody goes quiet.
You know why?
And
We
Because-
kind of process it.
Because they cry,
Students-
they cry a lot, right? FD and Angel, but I don't. So when you said that just now, I was trying to envision myself emotional, and you know what? A couple of occasions came up right there and
Straight
then
away.
Yeah.
of when I was emotional.
Yeah.
But just a few, but they all came
Yeah.
to mind at that very point.
Yeah.
Very milestones
So-
for you.
Is that something that you want to continue to be?
There's some occasions, right, where recently, maybe like a year ago, where I'm still trying to figure out why didn't I get emotional? Why didn't I cry? Why didn't I shed a single tear? And I still don't know.
Why is
It's
that,
like
Dr. Jerry?
it's like I should have, but I didn't, and I still haven't.
So it could be various explanation, right? The body trying to keep yourself in survival mode, because sometimes if there is a very traumatic event, or if it hurts too much and you permit yourself to cry, maybe you're in your mind, you feel that you cannot function anymore. So you put it in your pocket and then continue to do what you think you need to do.
So
Right.
it's a defense mechanism, the body trying to protect itself?
Sometimes, so also, for example, if let's say we are, since Julian is going to come up later on, maybe let's say, there's a car accident, okay? And in that instance, the driver would kick into action. Can you imagine if he starts responding to his fear? He starts responding to his shock. Yeah, he would not be able to get out of the car. He might just remain in the car. But if the survival part kicks in, then he would put it in his pocket first, park it later to process, and then get out of his car to safety.
Wow, okay. Reflex actions.
Yeah. I think it'll be so good if we were all a little bit more fearless. Because somehow I have a feeling like deep down inside, all of us are fearful about things.
For certain
True.
things.
Oh,
You know?
yeah.
And
it's
if we can
human.
get over that fear, I think things will be a lot better.
But Dr. Jerry,
Oh,
isn't
wouldn't that
it
make
good
us reckless?
to have some level of fear?
Yeah, so fear is good, but how many people acknowledge their fear? So going back to the acknowledgement, you see, because some people, if we go back to the first F, I need to want it. But if I don't want to fear, then I won't want to face the fear. So I will never learn how to deal with it.
Right. Okay.
That's very interesting.
So that's almost like a double whammy because you're afraid of the fear.
Yes.
We
So
try not to
sometimes
think about this fear, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
sometimes it does come
Up. Yeah.
come
It
up,
does come
you know,
up.
and all of a sudden you just feel like
Paralyzed,
you know,
yeah.
and then you try not to think about it. But I don't think that's healthy, right? If you're trying to avoid thinking about something that makes us fearful.
So deal with it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if only some people are affected by it, or whether everyone's affected by it.
I think we all have fears. They're
There's
just
some
different.
levels of fear.
They're just different
Like
fears.
like the fear of losing a loved one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
When that thought comes about, it's like, it's
Unimaginable.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you dread that day, you know?
You do. You do.
And how are we going to handle it when that day does come? You know, things like that.
But you do then deal with it, you see, or you do other things now in the here and now to deal with it. But those that park it aside, they don't acknowledge it. They don't even permit themselves to see that they can fear. So they get very angry when the fear actually does come. So they react in a very negative way to the fear or to that negative emotion.
So what about for Glenn? I mean, he knows that there were moments in his life where he was suppose as in generically people would do this, behave a certain way, but then he didn't. Will he eventually down the road be able to acknowledge those feelings and actually say cry or feel hurt or whatever it is that he's meant to be feeling?
Okay, we got to go
Okay.
and do a traffic update, and then Angel, you can ask her that question
Okay,
again.
all right.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Good morning, Singapore. Welcome to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is psychologist Dr. Geraldine Tan. May I add, award-winning psychologist.
Yeah.
Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room, and we're talking about building emotional muscles.
And if you're just tuning in right now, I mean, Glenn was sharing earlier on the Big Show TV that there were certain moments in his life where he felt like he should have reacted emotionally, say cried or felt hurt or something, but absolutely didn't. So, Dr. Jerry, I was asking you, I mean, will there come a time where eventually, Glenn will be able to acknowledge those feelings that they're actually there and cry his heart out, or will he just continue to look back and ask himself why the hell he didn't cry at all?
So I'm trying to make myself cry even till today. It's like, I try to think about, stuff related to this event, and, I look at photos and I think about it, and I still can't cry. But I feel like I need to.
So is it an expectation? Do you really need to cry? I don't know. Because sometimes we are expected to cry. I think it's quite interesting that you bring it up, because whoever said that, if we are grieving, we all need to cry. Yes, many of us do, but some of us grieve in our own way, and it can be without tears. There are different ways to express emotions, and it's not the K-pop way or the drama way.
Oh, the Taiwanese drama way.
Oh no!
But Dr. Jerry, is it possible that if these emotions don't come out as sort of the crying and stuff like that, that it would come out in a different way in terms of anger or, a negative sort of emotion?
So if we are talking about suppressed emotions, it can come out differently at a later stage without you realizing it. So we do see that. So the easiest way to express it is sometimes, the children who are not able to articulate their emotions immediately, or cannot find words, and they're feeling very negatively. They feel maybe maligned, or they feel like unjustly treated. They might go out, they might steal, they might, hit someone. Yeah, it might come out in a different way because they are unable to let someone else know about it.
Okay.
What about the idea of you have these emotions that are not being expressed for whatever the reason may be? I worry more that one day you will just explode. Do you know what I mean? You will emotionally explode. And that leads to something much bigger, which is why I try to express my emotion at that point or within a short space of time, because I don't want it blowing up later into something that's much, much bigger.
Actually, I would hope people explode rather than implode.
Right.
But there is a saying, like in America or something, boys crying bullets. Have you heard that one?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that boys that don't cry shoot.
Yeah.
They have an expression.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, isn't that the same as if you cannot express your emotion, you explode, but not necessarily always good to explode,
snap,
right?
yeah.
You snap.
No,
yeah.
it's not always good. If you put it in that way, if you're going to cause a danger to other people, then that's not good. So in any case, being a danger to others and being a danger to yourself is no good. Yeah.
But don't worry,
So
guys.
in
My situation doesn't involve anyone else.
It's just
except
you.
one person. That
yeah.
person's not around already. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue to talk to Jerry on the Big Show TV.
And we're back.
Jerry, we actually have a prison officer, a former prison officer, who is watching us this morning. And it's very interesting. He says, as a former prison officer and a teacher, I was very effective being strict and detached. But when I learned to be emotionally honest and authentic, I like that, emotionally honest and authentic, I became more effective and respected as a person.
Right. Because, I mean, the past people used to fear him.
Yes.
Him, right?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. So I think it's a realization. Even Renner said that during this pandemic, she's learned to break her emotions down, and she's in better control now.
I think that's a wonderful skill to have, to be able to break your emotions down.
Yeah, I'm sure I don't quite have it right either.
No, all of us are work in progress, right? So I'm good for the police officer. I'm so glad that, you're able to be honest and authentic. That is so, it's brilliant. It's something that please continue to share with everyone.
Yeah. Dr.
Yeah.
Jerry, you were talking about the 5 F's of mental health. You
Yep.
went through fight,
So
fuel,
fight,
fantasy.
fuel, fantasy, and the faith that I can do it. So Glenn, if you really want to feel those emotions, you've got to tell yourself, I can do it. Have
Yeah.
faith.
That's how I want to tell you, you see.
On your couch. That's what you meant.
Let's enough with the couch already.
But does he have to answer the question whether, does he want to show those emotions?
I do.
You do want to.
I absolutely want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can fight for it and then you can work on it.
So funny, huh? Can you imagine if Jerry says, okay, I'll see you, and I start crying now?
Wait.
She's like, you're healed.
Then our Facebook numbers will go up.
I don't need to see you after all.
Jerry, would this be a question that Glenn has to ask? I don't know whether this is the question that Glenn has to ask. Why do you feel you need to show those emotions? Why?
Because it's what normal people do.
That's why.
Ah.
But is that necessary?
Is that the expectation?
I mean, I know I'm
expectation.
extraordinary, but I don't want to be extraordinary like that.
Right. So it's because it's what normal people do. Okay.
Yep. So then there's the expectations I was talking about, and Shaun pointed that out. He was really, really sharp. So, why should we show certain emotions just because it is expected of us? Because you show it differently, Glenn. You're actually a really, really sensitive soul.
I think I am. That's the
Yes.
problem, you see. That's
Yes.
why it's bugging
You're
me.
wondering, it's bugging you, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in his head, he
But
feels like
you
being
would do it
sensitive is
before.
only this way to express it.
To cry.
Yeah, but it's actually
There are
normal.
other
So it's
ways,
not
right?
like I don't cry or show my emotions. Up till this point, right, I thought I was normal. But now I feel like I'm not, because I have cried before. But I don't
Yeah.
cry all the time.
Yeah,
So
you're
I
not
thought,
that-
okay, I just have things together. Emotionally, I have muscles.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do express my emotions at the right time.
Yeah.
So I'm not a freak. But now I feel like I'm a little bit of a
Freak.
a little bit of a freak.
Why would you think that?
Because the movies say that he has to cry at a certain point in time in his life, and he hasn't.
I don't think it's
And
the
I
movie,
think-
it's life says.
Life, yeah, in general, you know what I mean?
I think 95% of people would cry in my situation. But
So then you're special.
You
I
just
wish.
deal with it differently
Yeah.
unless you feel that it is stuck.
Because it's not like
Is
causing
this-
you,
Does it bug you?
yeah, it doesn't bug you,
well, I
right?
think about it from time to time.
But it doesn't stop you from doing the things
No.
that you still
Yeah.
want to
No,
do.
absolutely not.
You're still,
But I'm still like I constantly
functioning.
think about it. Right, I'm going like, why? Maybe
So
when
you
I'm
think
alone at
about
home
not
and
emoting.
sorry.
You think about not emoting in the right way. That's what you're thinking. Rather than thinking of the situation and feeling whatever feeling that you have. Is that right?
She's saying you focus on the wrong thing.
Let's just put it this way.
Sure, we don't have to
I'm telling
be
myself like
blatant.
emote. It's time to emote.
No, the more
do
you
what?
tell yourself, the
Yeah.
more your body is going to resist. It's going to be like, no, I'm
Suppose
not
you
going to
can
do it.
Really? Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
That's what Dr. Jerry is telling you. Like, don't focus on the.
Don't,
Yeah, the crying part.
I don't know. We're not
Focus on the
psychologists. So,
healing.
yeah.
and I'm not like telling you guys exactly what it is,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if I do, then maybe you'll understand. I'll tell you guys later when we have breakfast. We're going out for breakfast.
Can we
later.
wait till lunch?
Then I won't get to hear.
Yeah.
You want to
text
hear?
you. We'll text you.
I get to be on your couch.
Oh, you know what? We actually have an extra spot for lunch if you want to join us.
And nearby your place, quite near.
Yeah, that's true.
Aw.
See, maybe if it's unresolved, the next time we have a session like this, I will talk a little bit more about it on air.
Okay.
Group therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now
Yes.
we're still going through the 5 Fs, and you
On
haven't
the
completed
one
the
more.
fifth.
The last one is F for fatigue. So,
Fatigue,
wow. We talk about, breaking down the emotions, and it gets very tiring sometimes to have to go through all of that, so to permit yourself to feel the tiredness. So it's just like building any muscle, right? You will feel tired, you will feel exhausted. So it's not as if everything is going to be rosy just because you work on your mental health or your mental health muscles, so fatigue. So to know that there is fatigue. Fight, fuel, fantasy, faith, and fatigue.
All right. A couple more questions on Facebook, Sean.
Some comments. Ren says, Opa, which is Glenn, you can watch a sad Bollywood movie that might help.
I watched Batman. It was so
Was
much
it sad?
fun. No,
No, it wasn't sad. Okay.
It was sad. I
Ish.
mean, yeah.
Fiona says, I cry easily when I watch a sad movie or an event that does not have any relationship with, but on my own relations, I fight very hard not to be emotional. Would you advise that, Dr. Jerry?
No, let it out. If you're all alone, just let it out. My favorite place to be is actually on the plane, and I can watch.
Okay, hold on,
all
Dr. Jerry.
the
Hold on,
movies.
hold on, okay? All right, that's the Backstreet Boys. I Want It That Way right here on The Big Show and The Big Show TV. We're talking to Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. Very quickly, once again, 2 questions on Facebook, Sean.
One comment just to help Glenn out. Glenn says, Opa, watch a sad Bollywood movie. It might help you cry. Speaking of which, Fiona says, I cry easily when I watch a sad movie or an event that does not have any relations with to me. But I try to fight very hard not to be emotional. Is that
Oh, in real life.
recommended? Yeah.
Right.
Many people fight not to
Show
show
their
their
emotions.
emotions, huh?
Sometimes we want to know why you're fighting not to be emotional. So sometimes when I'm watching a movie and my kids, and I'm teary, my kids will like stare at me and go like, Mom's
Yeah.
at it again. So my favorite place to watch all these sobby movies or shows is on the plane, especially the red eye flight, and everything is
It's
dark.
dark.
And then by the time I land, my face is swollen, my eyes is swollen from crying.
Aiyo.
Oh,
No other story. That's just looking at you and just like,
I
"What's wrong with
love
this one?"
myself a good ugly cry with some movies. I mean, just some movies are just like you can't help yourself.
Jerry's leaving a flight after a red eye. Jerry leaves the plane after a red eye flight, and everybody goes, "Was the flight really that bad?"
Hey,
How bad is the food?
I've cried watching some movies
Okay, let
you
me
have,
ask you
okay.
this: you
All right.
cry when you watch a movie. Why?
because
It's
it's
sad.
that situation,
Touching?
whatever I'm watching, it's a touching
that's-
what do you call moment?
That's not why I cry when I watch a movie.
Then
Why do you cry?
I can take, because maybe I get too invested in the movie. I start relating it to my life.
Yes.
Certain movies I do that. Yeah.
I relate it to my life, and then I can bawl. I can absolutely bawl. It may be a line where a child says something to a father,
And it
I
reminds
will
you.
just bawl.
Yeah.
I cried at Transformers.
Why?
Because when the army and the Navy SEALs work together, the teamwork, I cannot teamwork. I love teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work, guys.
Oh my goodness.
FD was going on with something so beautiful, and when
Yeah,
he
I know.
said
Teamwork also is beautiful.
No, but
okay?
it's true. Again, I am like that. I relate movies to
Your own life.
things I miss in my life, things I've not had in my life,
I
and then
think
I
most
see it
people-
on a movie.
most people like
and
you,
I go,
FD.
Yeah,
damn,
that's
why
true.
hasn't that happened to me? And no, I tell you honestly, I go, damn, why hasn't that happened to me? Second question that comes out is, what's wrong with me?
But no, that's
Why
nothing.
hasn't it happened to me? What's wrong with me?
You think you're such an overthinker, you know that?
Maybe I am.
I think you are, yeah.
Maybe I am.
Okay, the first part was good. The second part is
It's not so good.
no.
Yeah, why is he blaming himself?
You're thinking about yourself.
Oh my God, Jerry, we all need to hit your couch together.
Clearly, we have problems.
Group therapy, I say.
We have issues.
You know, if we had a central perk here in Singapore, we would all be sitting on the couch, and then she can be on, you know,
On
a
that single
separate chair.
chair.
Yes.
We do have a central perk here.
Oh,
in
do we?
Singapore.
Yes,
Yes,
we
with
do.
that very same couch.
Yes.
With that same
I
couch.
could book it.
It's still around?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
still-
It's
Oh,
at Central
yeah.
Mall. Yeah.
Hey, let's meet up.
Let's meet there.
Yeah.
Why not? We'll buy you coffee,
Yeah.
Jerry.
There you go.
And maybe a croissant.
This is a couch we can
Black
sit on,
coffee.
and a black coffee. Yes, there
And
you
I
go.
tell you what, it's not just me. Matthew says, I agree, FD. It comes with age.
What comes
what
with age?
emotion?
This whole relating it to your life.
It's
No,
true.
she says no.
No, I think it is. Like for him, he's probably thinking like, I should have done
Reminiscing.
more when I was, you know.
That's called
I
regret.
could have
right?
done this. I could have.
Oh, regret, yeah. But you reminisce and regret, and this is why you cry, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's the reminiscent part as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to wrap this up because Julian is
Okay.
on standby already. So,
Yes.
Jerry, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about this next week while we go into another topic of yours. You know, that is if you have a few more things to say. But I know at the end of every show we have with you, you have some final words.
Yes, and because so many people love LeBron James, I stole some quote from him today. And he says, people will hate you, rate you, shake you, and break you, but how strong you stand is what makes you. So build those muscles.
Woo!
Oh, build
Emotional
those
muscles.
is what I say.
Love that.
Emotional muscles, yeah. Thank you very
Yes,
much,
emotional
Jerry.
muscles.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next
I'll
week.
see all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Emotional.